Hello, hello, hello. This is Felicia Moore welcoming you to step 10 or tip number 10. We have been on a journey renting right, the must know tips for a smooth rental experience. Again, I'm Felicia Moore, your host here at Exit Realty West Midtown. I'm an associate broker here, as well as a director of community resources and engagement. We want to engage you here in the community. So please reach out to us. We really want your input and we want to help you. You can send me any information. You may have show tips that you have, or you may have a group that you may want me to speak to because we do presentations to help people protect their property. We also have home buying seminars and other things that happen. So please make sure you reach out to me at Ask Felicia at exitwestmidtown.com. That's the email. Or you can text Ask Felicia to 85377. I will return your call, whether it's about the show or you just have some real estate related questions. I will try to help you. If I don't help you, our broker of record, Michael Williams, can help you. And if he doesn't know, well, we will find out for you. We are here to be your resource here. The other thing before we get into the show, as I always ask, that you please like, share, and subscribe this. Hit that thumbs up button and share if you know other people need this information. And more importantly, if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification button, because the more you subscribe and the more you like, the more YouTube knows that someone likes this content and they will share it with other people so that they may also join. We would love to get our viewership up and make sure all of this valuable information is getting in the right hands. So let me do a recap before we get into our final tip. And you hear me give this recap all the time. Number one was the budget. And if you've been through this whole series, you understand why that is so important, because all of the other tips feed right into it. If you're not able to get past checking off all of the things you need to do related to budgeting for your move, don't move on, because you're going to not have a smooth experience. You're going to either run out of money or you're going to run into situations that you didn't think about. We talked about number two. Tip number two was location. Tip three was the property condition. Tip four was that all important and almighty lease agreement. It is extremely important. It's almost in every tip, and we'll talk about it again today. Tip number five, the landlord and management company that you are going to be a renter of. You'll want to know some things about that. Your rights as a tenant is tip number six. Number seven, we talked about your neighbors and the community at large. Big considerations for your peace of mind. Number eight, utilities and services things. We deep dive a little bit into that you usually don't think about. Your move-in checklist, making sure you've checked everything that you need to know. Make sure you got that change of address in. Make sure you plan. Make sure you're not getting any mover scams. All of that is in the last episode, so please check that out. And now we're going to be talking about planning for the future. And as we do that, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm asking you to please like, share, and or subscribe to the channel. And we'll be right back. It'll be a very short break, and we'll delve right into our move-in, not in our move-in checklist. We did that last time. Planning for the future. Very important. So always important is planning for the future. You know, a lot of times you just, I went through all those 10 steps, you probably said, you know what, Felicia, I'm tired. I'm just happy now. I've moved in. It's been a smooth experience because I listened to some of your do's and your don'ts and things I didn't think about. I'm just happy. Well, that's great. But you do need to plan for the future. Sometimes life makes unexpected turns, and you have to be able to adjust to those. So, in planning for the future, we're going to try to anticipate the unanticipated as well as planning for if we are actually going to move in the future. It's extremely important. So, the things that you need to look out for. Here are some things you need to be prepared for. So, we want to plan for the long term. You need to understand that lease agreement again. That's extremely important because that can guide your decisions or it can make your decisions, if something comes up, very hard. You need to take note of any clauses related to renewal, penalties for early termination, and rent increases. You can be priced out of it. You moved in, you got the right uh, ratio, which I said you shouldn't be spending more than 30% of your income for your housing expenses. That goes as well if you are also going to purchase a home. Um, and then all of a sudden you get a note from the landlord saying, we're going to raise it by $400 or $500. That's totally out of your budget. You're not getting a raise. You've got to plan for these things and see what your local laws allow. Some states, there's some control in terms of the percentage of rent that can be raised. Others, there are not. You need to know all these things. You need to anticipate the unexpected. So you also need to set a budget for future moves, and you might just put $20 a week or a month or whatever. Just start building up your savings so that you can be ready if you have to move or if you want to move. So saving a small amount monthly can help with any potential moving costs, so you will be ready to go when you're ready to go, and if you get ready to go. Build good landlord relations. This is a big tip. Your relationship with your landlord is important. If it's somebody that you're fighting with all the time, you're probably not going to want to stay there long. If they're not repairing things, if they're not being a good landlord to you, you may need to plan to move because it may not get any better. You need to make sure that they are communicating with you, doing their part, making sure any maintenance concerns are dealt with properly. But you've got to do your part too. You've got to pay your rent on time. And I tell people, if you're going to be a few days late for rent, there's usually a grace period. If you know you're not going to come up with the money, or you're trying to come up with the money, sometimes just picking up the phone, building that relationship with the landlord and saying, look, I know the rent is due on the 1st. I know I have a grace period to the 5th, but I have some personal situations going on and I won't have the rent until the 7th. Can you work with me? It's better to communicate that, because if you don't communicate that, as soon as your local or state laws provide, that landlord may go and file for an eviction immediately, or they may fine you a late fee. Sometimes if you build a good rapport with them, they'll not fine you a late fee as long as you do what you say you're going to do, and that's pay on the 7th because of whatever personal information. And don't think that you got to tell them all of your personal business. And frankly, they don't need to know all your personal business. But if they know that you have a personal situation that you're trying to deal with and you're going to be a few days late, if they'll accept that, you might be able to save yourself some late fees and or eviction. Because I tell you, if they go down and file for an eviction notice, you're going to have late fees and you're going to have fees for them filing that as well. So that's the best thing you can do. And so keeping nice and making nice with your landlord by paying the rent on time. And if they know you pay on time for 6 months, and then on the 7th month, you're going to be a few days late, they'll work with you. But if you're late every time and it's 10 days or whatever, and they have to keep giving you late fees or whatever, you're not the best tenant. They get the money out of you eventually, but that does go into consideration when you really may need their help. If you're going to break the lease, say that you have a family emergency or a new job or something that makes you say, I can't stay here for my full lease term, what should you consider? Again, that is why you need to understand whether it applies to you at that moment or not, what your lease termination is. There is a clause or clauses related to lease terminations. Most of them have penalties for breaking the lease early. It may involve paying a fee or forfeiting your whole security deposit, or it may even have you to pay the rent for the new tenant. So, although the new tenant will probably pay too, they won't let them know, but they may say, hey, you've got 3 months left on this lease. I want the whole 3 months money. So you really need to understand that clause. And if you've built a good relationship with your landlord over the period of time that you've been there, they may be flexible with you even beyond what's in the lease terms. So, considering legal reasons for early termination, some jurisdictions, they say, allow tenants to terminate leases early under certain circumstances, i.e., a job relocation, unsafe living conditions, or military service. You need to research your local laws where you are to see if that applies, but you can also look to the lease. If you're in military service and you know you may be deployed, if that's not specified in the lease, that won't give you a penalty. You might need to get with the landlord and see if you can write that in. If you know that you are looking for job relocations or you're a job that may tell you you have to relocate, you need to get that in writing up front with your lease. So please research your local laws to understand what applies to you and what may not. Adequate notice. Notice is important, and it's not just you picking up the phone and say, hey, I need to move in 3 months. You need to put this in writing and make sure that you send it by email or some way that you can show that the landlord received it, and then that they agree with it. Even when breaking a lease, providing notice allows the landlord to get started on getting someone to come into that unit, and it could help you reduce the penalties. And your lease may require 30-day, 60-day notice. So you need, again, to read and understand that lease. If the lease allows subletting, you may be able to lease it to a friend or lease it out as an Airbnb or something to the end of your term. But again, it may not be something that can happen in all situations. But again, your lease will let you know what it does, and that may help potentially with your costs. So the next thing that most people want to do is to renew a lease. You've lived there a year, things are happy, you're happy with it. Hopefully you're not renewing if you're not happy. You should be looking if you're not happy. But if you are happy, you may want to look at renewing the lease. And we're going to talk about that and what you should consider even beyond that in terms of your next move. We're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back.
Why real estate professionals across North America are choosing Exit Realty.
Because of Exit, I am completely debt-free.
Myself and my family have been able to achieve financial freedom.
I am earning more than I ever thought possible.
The exit formula was actually created to be the solution in the real estate industry, to address all the problems. For agents, in the beginning, they need steady, consistent paychecks. Exit has something that is a key differentiator. We provide residual income.
Do the job once and get paid over and over. Fill in the gaps between commissions and create the life you always wanted. Learn how you can have more. Text 4MM to 85377.
All right, we're back as we are on the last segment of our last tip, which is planning for the future. I do want to ask that you please reach out to me at AskFelicia at exitwestmidtown.com or you can text Ask Felicia to 85377 to reach me, give me show ideas, ask me to come speak to your group on some of the scams that are out there, how to protect your property, whatever topic that I can adequately respond to, or you might just have a real estate question. We're here as a resource at Exit Realty West Midtown. And I hope that you took time to hit that thumbs up button and like this video and subscribe with all your notifications so you don't miss a show. So now we're going to go right back to where we left off, and we were going to talk about lease renewal. So there's some points under here that I think are very important. You need to know your options early. About 3 months or longer before your lease ends, talk with your landlord. See if they have any plans to do anything with your property. They may decide they want to get out of renting business and or they're going to raise the rent or whatever. You want to get a feel for whether or not you're going to renew with them, because if you're not, you need to start planning from step 1 through on your move. And if they're going to raise the rent, you need to make sure that it's still within that number 1, budgeting. So those are things you need to do. You need to have those discussions. Also, if there are things that you've been trying to get them to fix, or you all just have an adversarial relationship, you may not want to renew at all, but this is an opportunity to see if you all can get on the same page, see if that landlord will actually step up to the plate and honor their part of the obligation. And so this gives you time, if you do it up front, 4 to 3 months before your lease is up. That's good. Negotiate favorable terms. While the landlord holds the key, literally and figuratively, if you can move in there, you can negotiate. And again, if you develop a good relationship with the landlord, you should be able to negotiate. If you're a good tenant and they know that rent is coming and it's going to be on time, you're in a good position to negotiate. You can negotiate the rent. You can negotiate the length of renewal. You may know that you want to move or have to move. You say, hey, instead of doing a whole year, can we do 6 months? Can we do 3 months? And if I need a little bit more time, can we do month to month? Those are things that can be done. Or if there are minor improvements to the property or things that need to be done, this is the time to ask to see if you can get those things before you sign the next lease. There may be some small concessions that you all can make, like, I need this repainted or this appliance updated, or the dishwasher has been leaking and I've been telling you for months, I really need you to get somebody to repair it. That is a good time. Now, if you're a good tenant, if they haven't done it already, they're going to get it done because they're going to want you to stay. You consider the market rates. Consider researching what the market is out there in the area before you renew. See if rents have gone down in the area or if they've gone up. If they've gone up, more likely, if your landlord does the same research, they may want to increase the rent as well. So you want to look at that. And then the factor in moving in costs. So what are my costs versus staying here versus moving somewhere else, and all of the moving costs that are associated with that we've talked about in previous tips. So think about that. And as you consider your next move, again, we want to look 3 to 6 months ahead. And if you decided you're going to move, you want to start considering location and go back through step 1 through 9 and making sure that you do all your due diligence before that. You want to research your neighborhoods, as we've talked about in previous tips, making sure it's the best place that you're going to be able to quietly enjoy it, know what's going on. You need to know whether you want to be downsizing or you want to upgrade. You need more space? Did your family just have a child and you need an extra bedroom? Those are things that you need to start thinking about and planning for advance. And so here's a few more tips before we leave out of here that you want to consider in your future planning. If you have to move, well, first of all, always encourage you to have that renter's insurance, but if you have to move and you're looking at another place, does that cost change? Are you making sure you've kept good records in the event when you get to the end of that lease and you can find those pictures that you took and those videos that you took? So in the event you and your landlord go back and forth over normal wear and tear and they try to ding you on the security deposit, you have your evidence. And then you have to think too about the fact that you have to plan to have those utilities transferred and all of that. So I hope this series has been informative for you. You can always go back and re-review them, but all of these tips are important. I've got you your budget, your location, the property condition, the lease agreement, the landlord-tenant management, your rights as a tenant, the neighbors and community you're living in, the utilities and services you have to pay in, your move-in check-in list, the things that you need to do before you get ready to move in, while you're moving in, after you move in. And now I'm encouraging you to take step 10 as important as step 1, and that's planning for your future and making sure if you don't do anything else, you read and you understand your lease agreement. I hope this has been helpful for you. There's a lot of information. I think a lot of times people find themselves in a bad situation and not so smooth of a moving experience is because they just rush into it and they don't consider all of the costs. I hope this is helpful for you. Here at Exit Realty West Midtown, we want to be your resource for all your real estate questions, concerns, and needs. This is Felicia Moore, your host, signing off. I'm wishing everyone happy holidays in this episode, and I will look forward to seeing you in the new year. Take care.